Hello, I didn't see you there. Welcome to my studio. This is where I do a lot of the planning and research behind the work I do here at IU. What I want to do today is spend a little time discussing with you a little technique that I've had to use in my practice. This technique being forge. Forging metal, being able to manipulate bar stock. This elephant head as an example. I went through and took the original bar stock, manipulated it, and turned it into a curved, pointed, fatter at one end, skinnier at the other, I guess articulated piece of steel using heat, a hammer, and an anvil. Let me take you down to the metal shop. What you're going to need first off is a pair of just a simple, cheap protection for the eyes. You're also going to need probably something to keep the hair wrapped up, a single set of gloves for a first layer, a second glove to put over the hand that's going to be actually holding the metal while you're working. If you have materials that you think will be flammable, make sure you take them off. You can purchase a jacket, something that's just, I guess, not a cotton. And then you should be ready with those tools to go ahead and set up for the job. Alright, and then it comes to the gas. What you want to do, this is an oxygen and acetylene set. You're going to want to set both of your settings to 10 psi. And then you take a traditional oxyacetylene torch tip, replace that with the cutting tip. And all these things can be hand tightened. They don't have to be screwed tight. But you want to take the end of it off. And essentially what you're doing here is you're replacing this traditional tip for this one. If you look down into the ends of them, you can see the holes are bigger. And what that's going to do is give you the opportunity to make a larger flame. Open up the main valve on the oxygen and acetylene tanks. Take both of them up to 10. And you can always release the pressure to ensure that you have it at the right number. So once you've gotten your gas set up on the oxyacetylene torch, what you want to do is set it up so that you're not going to have to hold it while you're working with the hot. What I did was put a glove next to the actual hand and then just tighten it down enough to hold it in place. An anvil, a hard surface to put the heated metal onto. And some sort of heavier hammer fit to do the job. You're going to want to start with your acetylene and a striker. Get that lit, dial it down so that the flame is still connected to the tip, and then add the oxygen until you get the cool, blue, short, pointy flames. And you should have 6 tips. If not, use a file to clean out the end of the tip. We're going to try to draw it out. Alright, and then what you're going to want to do is work your way from the point you're starting to the end of the rod and just repeat that. And continue to stretch. And it's getting just a little smaller. This process does take time. What you can already see, hopefully, is that the rod is beginning to get smaller. As we work through it, hopefully we'll see a little more. years old and tried not to hit the face directly next to the last. Tried not to spin the metal. So I ended up with a square rod instead of a round. So now I'm going to go back through it and hit the faces that have been raised as edges to hopefully turn it back into a circle. I went back through and I've begun to round it back out. I've drawn it to a tip on the end. And what you do is just keep working this until you get a more dramatic or drastic, basically to the level you want it. With my elephant tusks, I wanted it to have more of a mangled, aged look or aesthetic. So I left it with all of these pock marks and then went and heated it up the same way and curved it to create that kind of coming out, spreading, and then rolling back in shape of a tusk. You want to fatten or shorten the metal, start at a point far off from the end, heat it, put it down into, in my case, there's a hole in our anvil, which I'll stick it down to hold it in place while I hammer on the end of it. The heated part will thicken, and you just work your way to the end until you get the desired thickness you want. If you want to go much thicker, I suggest using a fatter bar stock, welding it to a smaller bar stock, and then working the pieces so that they become a whole. But if you're just trying to have it so it changes a little bit along the way, then you can use the same size bar stock. Hopefully you can see the metal is already starting to thicken up, but this is the way that I made the elephant tusks for my forged elephant sculpture that I made here at IU. Thank you.